Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, coming to you with my pearl handle pistol cufflinks. And today we are reacting to Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago. The affidavit's been released. But before we get to that, keep in mind that this episode, like most of them, are brought to you by eforms.com. Where was that? eforms.com. I'm sorry, what did you say? I said eforms.com. Now remember, eforms.com is an awesome place to go if you have some legal to do and you want to sue somebody, or you want to give somebody power of attorney to take care of your legal or whatever you need to, banking, whatever, or a lease agreement. Any kind of legal form that you need, go to eforms.com, and they are awesome. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't hire somebody like me to do something you can do for almost nothing. So today we are reacting to Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago raid or search warrant. Now let's just talk about what they did here, okay? The federal government, when Donald Trump left the office in January of 2021, when he left office, he took with him a shitload of documents that he wasn't supposed to take. Guess what? When you're not the president anymore, you don't have clearance to do whatever the heck you want to do. You might have it, but his clearance was revoked. You know, when a president leaves, they generally have access to, if they want to follow up on something, or if they want to know some information, they generally can do that. They don't need to have the documents there at their Mar-a-Lago estate. But let's just talk about what actually happened here. So he left office, in 2021 on Inauguration Day. And when he left, he took with him a lot of documents. And they knew this. The National Archives is the custodian of records for the federal government. And they house all kinds of classified and top secret and other kinds of documents that you're not allowed to take off the premises, period. So now let's also talk about what happens here when somebody executes a search warrant. It's not a raid. If it was a raid, there would be guns a-blazing. There would be, it would be a different thing. But it wasn't a raid. It was an execution of a lawful search warrant. Now, there's all kinds of people who are going to say, oh, it's politically motivated, blah, 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 fucking blah. Not true. Because there are checks and balances. Because DOJ is inherently non-political. And the only reason the FBI even got involved in this is because the National Archives wasn't getting anywhere. So what do they have to do? Remember what I told you first off, when they executed the search warrant, they left the search warrant there. They left the receipt, inventory, and return there as well. That's a list of the things that they took. This document right here, this is the affidavit. So whenever you get a search warrant, a law enforcement official has to create an affidavit and bring this before a federal judge. The federal judge, or if it's a state matter, a state judge. And the judge will look at it, and this is a 38-page document. And so the judge reads this affidavit, and the affidavit is a sworn statement by law enforcement, and in this case the FBI, to basically say that there's probable cause to believe that evidence of a crime is going to be found in a particular place. Now, Mar-a-Lago is a club, and it's right on the ocean, and there are, people that live there from time to time. Donald Trump lives there, portion of the year, however. And there are other people that live there too. But the other people that, if they are living there, and I don't know, I think it closes down for the summer, but if there are other people that are living there, they would not be subject to the search warrant because they didn't have, and this affidavit actually carves that out. So if Jim Smith has wing over here, that would not be subject to the search warrant. So but here's the thing. Generally, these are done under seal, and, Donald Trump did not file any motion to unseal it. It was the media that did that. And if you go through it, it's 38 pages. You're going to see a bunch of pages like, hold on, like this. I don't know about you, but when I see this just bugs the shit out of me. I cannot stand when I see this. Just as a defense lawyer, I'm like, come on. But there's nothing to really litigate yet, right? And why is that? It's because there's no case. There's no case before anybody. So this is an investigative tool that the feds use to determine whether or not, or to get a search warrant, and then to determine whether or not anything that they obtain is illegal activity. So if you look at the timeline in this affidavit, about a year ago, shortly after Donald Trump left the office, the National Archives requested the information back. He gave some documents back. But when you see this, that tells you there's an inside source, because they're protecting whoever gave them this information. They're not just going off of would be or should be or could be's. They're going off of, we know because of this, and we checked it out because of this, and this person said this. So they have what? Come on. One of these. They have a snitch, right? And so somebody on the inside of Trump's orbit is giving the federal government information that they are now using to execute a search warrant to infiltrate his private club, but they're going into any storage compartment or any area where documents may be found. And that is pretty broad. So they can kind of go into every closet, go into a safe, go into any place that is within his purview. So now a search warrant, it's really an extraordinary thing, because the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution protects you from unreasonable searches and seizures, right? But only in places where you have a reasonable expectation of privacy, okay? So you have a reasonable expectation of privacy in your automobile, for example, but it's less than you do in your home. And there's also a thing called curtilage. It's kind of a fancy term for anything around your house, kind of so associated with your house that it really is part of your house. But your house is your castle. Your castle is your domain is your castle. And when you have that reasonable expectation of privacy, a search warrant has to be narrowly tailored in both temporal context, in other words, time. And the timing has got to be, like 5 years goes by. Yeah, we still think there might be some documents there. That wouldn't cut it. And also it has to be specific. You have to be specific about what you're looking for and where you're going to look for it. Okay? And that's what this does. This was a referral from the United States National Archives and Records Administration, NARA, sent to the United States Department of Justice on February 9th, 2022. Another thing I found, so 15 boxes, which had been transported from POTUS, contained classified documents, and they were all intermingled throughout other things like magazines, and it's just kind of strange how this worked. The FBI's investigation has established that documents bearing classification markings which appear to contain national defense information were among the materials contained in the 15 boxes and were stored in the premises at an unauthorized location. Now, here's the thing. What could possibly be the purpose for Donald Trump to have this information? Now, here's the other thing that you got to keep in mind. It doesn't really matter if they're classified or not classified. These are government documents. They're government property. He's got no business retaining government property. So under the statutes that they sought this under, one is illegal retention of government property. Not only, they also said they believe that there's evidence of obstruction will be found on the premises. And here's the other thing about this affidavit. Now remember, it's a sworn statement by law enforcement, and it's supposed to contain enough, but not any more than necessary. This paragraph, I think, is interesting. The facts as set forth in this affidavit are based on my personal knowledge, that's the FBI agent, knowledge obtained during my participation in the investigation, and information obtained from other FBI and U.S. government personnel. Because this affidavit is submitted for the limited purpose of establishing probable cause, and we'll tell you what probable cause in a second is, in support of the application for the search warrant, it does not set forth every fact I or others have learned during the course of this investigation. So you need probable cause to establish the justification for a search warrant for the judge to sign. Probable cause is just slightly more true than not true. So it's slightly more true that evidence of a crime is going to be found in that location. That's all they need. And it's really the lowest standard of proof. But keep in mind that this affidavit, and you really can't tell shit about the probable cause section of this because it's all been blacked out. But it doesn't contain all the information that they have. So of the most significant, and this is right from the text here, of most significant concern was that highly classified records were unfolded, intermixed with other records, and otherwise improperly identified. So, and I don't know why he's keeping this stuff. Does he think it's cool? I mean, we know he thought the letter that he received from Kim Jong-un, that he thought that was cool. I just don't know what he's thinking. But here's the thing. This isn't just a witch hunt. This is something that they've been working on for over a year to try to get these records back. But it really is frustrating when you see all these redactions. And normally a judge doesn't really care. You know, normally the judge says we're gonna keep this sealed because the government's under the process of an investigation. So for May, so they're working on this for like a year, right? And in May, the FBI conducted a preliminary review of the 15 boxes that the National Archives got from him early on and identified documents with classification markings of 14 of the 15 boxes. So there's classified documents in almost every box. 184 of the documents bearing classification markings, including 67 documents marked as confidential, 92 marked as secret, and 25 marked as top secret. Here's the thing. First, Donald Trump said he didn't have the records. They're planting records, right? Then he said, but I declassified them all. You know, I waved a magic wand, and then now he says, well, some of them are privileged and they're my records. You know, they're nobody else's records but mine. You can't have it every which way from Sunday. The other thing that's completely untrue is the fact that the president's counsel claimed that the president has the absolute authority to declassify documents. Not true. He does have the authority to declassify them, but guess what? Biden could reclassify them, to be honest with you. And I don't know if he's doing that or not. But he's staying out of the fray, which is smart of him, because he shouldn't have anything to do with this. So in May, they were trying to get these records back, because they knew there were more records. On June 8th, DOJ counsel sent POTUS counsel a letter which reiterated that the premises are not authorized to store classified information and requested preservation of the storage room and boxes that had been moved from the White House to the premises. In other words, the way you're keeping these records, number one, is not secure and not authorized, and number two, you are not authorized to do this. So they're in constant communication. And guess what they did later? They subpoenaed the records back. And they ignored the subpoena. See, look at all these are all redactions. And it's kind of a bummer because you really want to know what the hell this stuff says, don't you? I mean, who is the snitch? Who is the one that's providing them the inside information? Is it Jared? Some people think it is Jared. And let me tell you something about the federal government. The federal government is pretty fucking persuasive. They can say, you can either help us, or if you obstruct, we're going to arrest you and we're going to hold you while this thing is pending. I'm telling you, the federal government is really powerful. So let's see. Could it be Melania? Could she be the snitch? Ooh, that would be an easy way to get rid of Donald. And then her prenup probably doesn't apply. Not sure. I'm not. That's totally speculation, and who gives a shit about that? But there is a snitch, and the snitch is inside. And one of the things is, his lawyers said, we are confident there are no documents, blah, 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 blah. And then they knew they were lying. Or they didn't have the whole truth. He's got classified information that's not authorized. And so they're asking to search. So remember I said it's got to be narrowly tailored, to a specific time and place. So they want to search 45 office and all storage rooms and any other rooms or locations where boxes or records may be stored within the premises as further described in Attachment A. Now, so, and then here's a qualifier. Remember what I told you about other people using the place? If at the time of the search there are areas of the premises being occupied, rented, or used by third parties, not otherwise used or available to be used by POTUS and his staff, the search would not include such areas. So that's basically the affidavit, and I think he's got some real jeopardy here. This is a totally separate case. And it may be kind of a clear-cut case. I don't know, because we don't know what the probable cause portion is. But we will find out probably in about 6 to 8 months. And it's really a sensitive deal, because if these are really highly classified information, what's the purpose of him keeping those? I can only think of two. One, he wants to use it to bargain, with a foreign government, in which case that's why the Espionage Act is probably triggered in this affidavit and the search warrant. Or he just thinks they're cool. I mean, that could be it too. I don't know. So I'm not going to speculate on, because I have no idea what the documents were, because they're classified. And neither do you, and neither does any other talking head out there. We heard from such and such, blah, 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 blah. Bullshit. You don't know anything, because you just don't. And the only people that know are the people who are actually reviewing the documents. But it's so serious that it triggered an FBI to search the home of a former president's house. That doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. And a judge looking at this knows that there's going to be an incredible amount of scrutiny. Once this is revealed, generally once a search like this happens, there's an indictment usually close behind it. Now, this it also is really, really tricky too, because if you're dealing with national secrets and you're dealing with highly classified, top secret documents, you can't put those out in public. You can't put those into a courtroom. So when you indict somebody, you have to tell them what you indicted them about, right? And you have to expose everything, and whether the government's willing to do that or not, or maybe they just wanted to get the records back, and now they've got them back and it's done. That very well could be it. This is Bruce Rivers. I really appreciate you guys watching. Hope it's informative for you. And, comment and let us know what you'd like to see. This has been our reaction to the release of the affidavit on Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago search warrant. So make sure you follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon. We had some really good Patreon subscribers recently, and we're doing some good work there. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. 23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?